Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. So we have the Voracia skill trailer that we have to go through right now. This is exciting information, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to dine.
Lately, everyone at the Noble Tavern has been talking about a restaurant in Savannah and its head chef, Voracia. No matter how hectic the kitchen gets, she handles the heat, the plating, and the timing of every dish with perfect composure. But if you think that composure stays inside the restaurant, you're serious.
Okay guys, we have the specialization for AFK stages in Supreme Arena. So the first look, it is good news because there's no Dream Realm mention. Hopefully that means it could be a potential skip for players who want to save resources for the collab coming up, or even whatever else you want to save resources for. Now, the thing though is synergy with Mihira, who is really good in AFK stages, the twins for energy and ultimate cycling, even Pandora Rowan for energy. Kind of interesting. Okay.
Underestimating her. Even on the battlefield, Voracia acts as if she's preparing a feast. When Voracia hits enough enemies or all surviving enemies with a skill, her appetite awakens, granting a fervor effect to that skill. When she casts her ultimate, the main course, Voracia summons a plate on a chosen tile. She then uses her threads to pull nearby enemies onto the plate, knocking them down for a short time. After that, Voracia...
How long are they going to remain down for? It says knocking them down for a short time, but like these enemies are not getting back up.
Enemies onto the plate, knocking them down for a short time. After that, Voracia samples the food on the...
That is a long knockdown. That is probably the longest knockdown I've ever seen. But it is tied to her ultimate, of course, which is not going to be cycling nearly frequently enough to have permanent, like, crowd control. Chain CC, but... yeah, okay.
Plate, dealing damage to each enemy and recovering health based on the actual damage dealt. Once this skill gains fervor, it also benefits from extra penetration when dealing damage. When Voracia casts prime...
Okay, so the important thing actually about her ultimate is not only the ultimate active cast, but more importantly the passive. This is important. When Voracia deals damage to a certain number of enemies, so there's going to be some number that she has to hit with her skills when she casts them, or if all surviving enemies are hit, then her appetite will awaken, and it will grant that skill fervor, enhancing the effect of it, and the ultimate specifically when enhanced is going to have penetration on the skill. Okay, so that is something we have to keep in mind when we look through her kit.
Casts Prime Cut, she slashes through the area with the most enemies using her dining knife, dealing damage to enemies within range. Once this skill gains fervor, she performs an extra slash, dealing additional damage. Each additional slash pulls the battle further into her rhythm.
So this skill is very weird. It's just some damage, and it just deals a little bit of extra damage when you get fervor. There's no like debuff, there's no utility here. Honestly, not a fan of this skill, so let's move on to the next one.
When casting Vino Inferno, Voracia splashes red wine onto the area with the most enemies, then roasts them with magic, dealing damage periodically to enemies within range. Once the skill gains fervor, the wine ignites at the end of the roast, bursting into flames and dealing damage to enemies within range.
So again, a bit of bonus damage when it's fervor enhanced is just a bit of damage per second, which is ticking with the red wine. Now, all of her skills you're noticing are going to be AoE. And the thing is, because you have to hit a certain number of enemy targets as from her passive on her ultimate in order to actually enhance and increase her, awaken her appetite and get the fervor stack for your different various skills. So that's why they're all going to be AoE. Seems to be around a 2-tile radius or something like that. But really, they're just damage on these skills, no utility so far. So I'm not too impressed yet.
Is within range. Behind that gentle aroma lies a heat no one can afford to ignore. And when all of her skills have gained fervor, the true feast begins. After unlocking her exclusive skill, Chef's Choice, and once all of Voracia's skills have gained fervor, she opens her jaws and devours the enemy that has dealt the most cumulative damage,
Okay, this is really big. You can actually see it right over here. Now, Devour doesn't mean instant defeat. Like the Harok Devour not only devours, but it also says instant defeat in the text. This is not an instant defeat, but look, there's a massive HP reduction, permanent HP reduction. And also look at this. The energy bar has become blacked out. That is crazy. And it will be on the one enemy target that has dealt the most damage, but this is only gonna proc. This is gonna be like a one-time proc from her exclusive skill. It'll only proc after all of her skills have been enhanced or gained the fervor. Basically, her appetite has been awakened on all of her skills. So her skill 2, her skill 3, and her ultimate skill as well. The active cast of her ultimate, because all 3 of them can actually gain the fervor. So you're gonna have to get that on all of them. So it's gonna need grouped up enemies because she needs to hit enough enemy targets to actually get the fervor stack. So grouped up enemy team, that's why you're seeing her a lot with Mihira. I see the synergy between her and Mihira a lot right now. And for AFK stages, yes. And the long duration of her knockdown with her ultimate. But let's continue. What more is there here?
Dealing damage and absorbing a portion of the target's basic stats.
Oh, it also absorbs basic stats on the target who she devoured. Kind of like, you know how Valara has that absorption onto the entire enemy team after all of her magic circles are active. But right now it's only onto one enemy target, right?
Up to a certain percentage of her own initial stats. If the target is not a boss, they also permanently lose all energy.
They permanently lose all energy, meaning they will not be able to cast ultimate for the rest of the match on the enemy target that she devoured. But the thing is, this is probably only going to proc one time. Once all her skills have gained fervor, she just devours one enemy target that's dealt the most damage. The problem is you want to keep re-triggering this. You want to keep denying and blocking the entire all 5 enemies like in an AFK stage. Then I could see it much more. But if it's only going to be one trigger, that's too little in my opinion. We'll have to see. Are there going to be more triggers, more procs of this actual devour onto enemy targets? Because without that, honestly, just one enemy target, preventing them from casting ultimate, they can still freely cast their skills, their active skills. It's not even like a silence. And you steal some of their stats, which is interesting, but is that really enough? Especially considering her other 2 skills are just damage, no utility other than her ultimate that has a knockdown. That's the thing we have to consider.
After the exclusive skill is upgraded, she devours one additional enemy that has dealt the most cumulative damage when the skill is cast.
Okay, so they do say it right here. There's going to be another enemy target. Look, now 2 enemy targets are permanently energy blocked and have this, HP reduction and stat stealing. So she could eventually steal some pretty big stats, stealing from 2 enemy targets. But it does seem like that is going to be the maximum. She is only going to be able to devour 2 enemies maximum, at least from this skill trailer. Out of 5 potential enemies that you're facing, they are going to be the highest damage dealers, which is interesting. But honestly, I don't know if this is enough. We'll have to talk about that.
To Voracia, the most obvious targets are always the first to fall into her threads. In battle, she uses her plate and threads to gather enemies together, then keeps the pressure on with her knife.
Okay, we have to look for initial energy on Voracia, and we can see that usually here. If we just play it back.
In battle.
Okay, it doesn't look like there's any initial energy on Voracia here, right? Because you just have the twins with their initial energy. This is the beginning of the battle.
She uses her plate and threads to gather enemies together, then keeps the pressure on with her knife and wine. As her skills hit.
Wait. I don't know what's going on here. I think they skipped to the middle of the battle, not to show initial energy, because 2 enemies are already devoured. Like, did she just cast ultimate at the beginning of the battle?
In battle.
Did Rowan boost her energy so she can insta-cast ultimate?
She uses her plate and threads to gather enemies together.
They're knocked down, so she's insta-casting her ultimate. So, actually, she is gonna have some initial energy, because it seems like a Rowan potion instantly allowed her to cast ultimate, meaning that she would probably have 600 or higher initial energy. Because look, they're all knocked down. She's casted her ultimate. The ultimate now has fervor attached to it. Now she's just waiting for the other 2 skills to get fervor.
Then keeps the pressure on with her knife and wine.
And boom, look at that. Just few seconds into the battle, if she can get that ultimate off, and then the other two skills onto grouped up enemy team to get the fervor triggered, then she can, within 5 to 8 seconds, 5 to 6 seconds, she can actually get her devour off, getting the stat steal, blocking energy of 2 enemy targets who dealt the most damage, and reducing their stats as well, including reducing their health. Now, it's interesting, definitely, it seems potentially fast enough, and in AFK stages, interesting as well. But let's continue.
Her skills hit enough enemies, they gain fervor one by one. Once the timing is right, she uses Chef's Choice to eliminate the key target with calm, precise elegance. Voracia does more than just control the battlefield. She builds up fervor in her own rhythm and then delivers a perfect finish when the moment is right. Wherever you meet her, beware of the threads you cannot see. Some chefs remember what their guests like. Voracia knows how the feast will end before you even say a word.
Okay, so that is Voracia in a nutshell. A very interesting skill kit. However, just to highlight on some key points, in order to actually get the value, you need her exclusive skill. And you need to upgrade it high enough so that she will get 2 basically procs of the Devour. That's really important after the skill is upgraded. That is going to be essential. Now, we did see in this hero spotlight that if you give her energy boost from like a Rowan potion or, I don't know, a Theodore maybe even potentially in front of her, she can get her ultimate very quickly into the battle. That is going to knock down enemies for a long duration. It's a long duration knockdown. And also, if it hits enough enemy targets, it is going to give the fervor stack enhancement to that ultimate. Then her other 2 skills, you just need to proc those other 2 skills onto enough enemy targets, and that is also going to grant them the fervor stack. And then just seconds into the battle, you're going to see right here,
together,
she will be able to devour the 2
wine.
hardest hitting damage dealers. And that is going to permanently prevent them from casting ultimate. They can still cast other skills, though it's not like a silence. And is heavily reducing their stats and health, and she's going to be gaining stats. And look at this, all this health that she's gaining. She's actually gained a large amount of health, if you see right here. So she's going to be really tanky. She's going to be hitting harder and interesting. So like overall, you know, there's an angle for Voracia for both AFK stages and PvP. Keep in mind, I don't see any Dream Realm usage because she just has magical damage. She doesn't even have true damage. And obviously you can't devour a boss. Although you could probably reduce their stats slightly, but yeah, that's not going to be enough. She's not a Dream Realm hero. She's purely going to be AFK stages PvP, but there's enough utility here and interesting techniques that she has that I am going to be watching out for testing of Voracia to see AFK stages and also PvP. Now, PvP, if the enemy has a Dundinger, Voracia is dead because without her ultimate, she can get fervor on her ultimate, and then she cannot actually proc her Chef's Choice, which is her exclusive skill. And then without her Devour, she's basically useless. If the enemy has a Lily May, you have to plan for that and have some hero who can absorb the Lily May, take the Lily May interruption. That will be essential. And then finally, you're going to want to have her with an energy booster because you just want the fight to immediately want her to cast ultimate. You want to knock down enemies, and then you want to begin getting all of her skills fervor stacked. And then the other thing is, if the enemy is not crowd controllable, then she loses her value. She can't get her knockdown with her ultimate, or even the grouping potentially. If the enemy has spread out enemy team, she can't hit enough targets with her skills, and then she's not going to get the fervor enhancement on them. So really, a lot is needed for Voracia to actually set up effectively. The question is, if she gets a perfect setup, is she going to be good enough to win you the PvP match or win you the AFK stages? That is yet to be determined. I think AFK stages is actually a bigger angle because you can easily, you know, manipulate AFK stage enemy heroes, either crowd control them with Mihira, you know, group them up, and then easily get Voracia fully stacked. And get her Chef's Choice and to basically devour 2 enemies, and maybe that could be enough for you to win. However, after her Devour, or other than her Devour, she just has knockdown utility, which seems a long duration, but obviously is tied to her ultimate, which will not be able to be cast so frequently. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's tough to say about Voracia, but if you are a Dream Realm focused player, I think it's a safe skip, easy skip for you. If you are an AFK stage focused player, then I would definitely stay tuned for more testing and keep your eyes out for if she's actually good enough for AFK stages. I don't think her damage will probably be good enough, just raw magical damage. The question will be, will the knockdown from her ultimate, along with the Devour for the ultimate blocking and also stat reduction, will that be enough value for your team in AFK stages, which it definitely could be. So that would be the question, and you'll have to see about that. And for PvP, I am reluctant, honestly. Ultimate based heroes already have a problem with, and I think that yes, idealistically, you could get her set up and devoured of enemies quickly. But then there are also a lot of heroes in PvP who don't even necessarily care if you devour them. Like, for example, Gwyneth would not care if her energy was denied, her ultimate was denied. However, she would care if her stats are reduced, and the Devour does reduce stats as well. So, and the final thing we have to talk about, which we didn't talk about, will her Devour be able to proc onto enemies who are unaffected? Because right now, unaffected is kind of like the trump card status condition, which will even prevent the hero from being silenceable. Like an unaffected hero is not actually, it's not possible to prevent them from casting ultimate in their skills because unaffected counters that unless it's contest. Contest is on a different tier. For whatever reason, Contessa's expel thing is going to silence you will not be able to cast skill even if you're unaffected. But we have to see about that with Voracia. So there's things that will have to be seen. Testing will have to be done. It is basically going to be results dependent whether she will be good for AFK stages. PvP for Dream Realm, I can safely say 99.9% that she will not be meta. So if that's all you care about, you can skip her. And either way, I would not recommend pulling her immediately because we're going to have collab coming up. Hopefully there will be an overlap between Voracia and the collab because you need to stay tuned for that. If there's some meta hero on the collab, you need to have enough resources, enough diamonds saved up for that. And because Voracia is a regular faction hero, she can always be built up over time on your wish list as well. But she is incredibly exclusive skill tied, because without her exclusive skill, she doesn't devour, and the Devour is everything in her kit. Honestly, that the knockdown from her ultimate is nice, but honestly, that is not the make or break from her kit. It's a Devour. So anyway, guys, let me know what you thought about Voracia in the comment section down below. Are you excited for her? Is there anything else you want to point out that you feel that I didn't mention? Feel free to share that in the comment section. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Firelight store. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. My affiliate link is in the description of this video in a pinned comment, and you can actually bookmark this link in your browser, and whenever you're planning to make a purchase, just return to the bookmark link and make your purchase. It will support me and be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.